Hi, I have some fun stuff for you today. It is time for Celebration Part 2 for 2019. At least it will be if you are watching this past February 15th. So if you don't have this flyer yet, and you're in the US, I will be happy to send you one. Just comment below and then I can message you and get your address. It has a couple of more additions to our Celebration line. There is a stamp set that is going to be able to be used with your Stamparatus. You don't have to use it with the Stamparatus, but if you have it, it will help. And I will be doing some videos on that in a couple of days, but not quite yet. This one I will be getting to. It's got a super long name, the Country Floral Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder. All those words to say it's super, super beautiful floral print embossing folder, and there will be a lot that you can do with that, and you'll be able to mix it and match it with a lot of other things. The one I'm going to focus on today is, and let me say those first two are by $50, and you can get either of those as a free selection. The one I'm going to use today is if you purchase $100, then you can get it. And it is called the Painted Seasons Bundle, and it is a bundle. You get designer series paper and a beautiful stamp set. The paper though is also super beautiful. And in March, starting March 1st, you will also be able to purchase some framelits if you'd like. Otherwise, the stamps themselves aren't super difficult to cut out, so until you have the framelits, you can cut them. Once you get the framelits, of course, they're always fun to have the framelits, and it makes it a little bit quicker. So I'm going to show you a card with this, and it's actually a two-part card. So I'm going to show you the first part that's the faster of the two cards, since I'm going to show you the paper and stuff in this first video. So I'll upload it first and then check back in a day or so to see the second card. If I can get them both done, I'm gonna stop taping this one and go right into filming the other one, but sometimes the editing and the uploading and stuff takes a little bit longer. But here's the paper that comes with it. I don't have all 4 seasons because there are 4 seasons of the paper. I'll show you the other season in the next video because there's 4. So each of the papers is double-sided, of course, and one side is, I have a little bit of it. It's my favorite piece that's missing. So here's one that's got some really pretty flowers, and then the reverse sides are all hand painted. So it has like some variations in the color, and that's not an imperfection. That's the way it's supposed to be, and I love that look. I'm all about a little bit of imperfections. And then there's it's kind of a Christmassy one, but it doesn't have to be. It's got the pine cones and some berries and some greenery, so it could be. And then on the reverse side is some pool party, and again you can kind of see the variations in the color. I like that look. If you don't like it, then just cut your paper so you kind of get it, so it doesn't show up as much. Then this one is succulents, super, super pretty, and there's stamps that coordinate with all of the paper. And the reverse side of that is some coral, which there is coral in this side as well. And then the stamp set has a succulent and a flower and the fern and the pine cone, which are the main images then in the papers. And then what I do when I get a new bundle like this, one of the things that makes it the easiest to play with is I take, if you notice, always in where did I put my flyer? The flyer, and then on the back of the paper, if you don't have your flyer handy, when you sit down to stamp, on the back side of the paper where it says the name of it, it always lists all of the colors that are in the paper. So before you start to stamp, just run over and get all of the colors. See if I can pick these up without dropping them. So here are the colors that are in this particular grouping of paper, and aren't those pretty? So then you have them all sitting here, and as you start to work, these colors all coordinate and they all match with the papers. Some of the papers don't have all of the colors, but it's the ones that work and the ones that are designed to be used with this particular set of stamps and in this bundle. So it is the only way you can get the paper, and the stamps are to purchase $100. So eventually your paper will run out unless you want to spend $200 and get 2 stamp sets, and give one as a gift. So I'm going to show you some stamps that you can recreate the paper as well in the future. So I will be showing you some of those cards. But let's face it, a lot of us hoard our paper anyways, so check back with me in 2 years and you'll probably have some of this paper still left. So don't worry about the fact that the paper is going to be limited, because you will not use it, because I know you guys. But I have I realize now I have all the supplies for both of my projects laying here, and I'm only going to show you one right now, but it's going to use the paper from one is going to tie into the paper from the other. That's why there's two. So let me get my camera down, and it is actually sunny in it's a tongue twister, in Indiana today. So I don't have my lights on, but I think I'm going to turn them on for the table. Didn't have them on for my face, because sometimes the sun coming in my window competes with both, if you have both. So the only color I'm going to use for this one is the espresso. So I'll pull the espresso out of my little stack, and then I'm just going to keep these here because I'm going to be working on this bundle for a couple of days. And look, I have some more Valentine stuff that's not Valentine and that I still have to show you. My desk is full of stuff. I have so much stuff to show you guys. There's just not enough time in the day. I have so much to do. So here's the stuff that I'm working with. So the next card that I'm going to use uses the beautiful poppy paper and then these flowers. So when I made this card, I made it first, and I had this, and it really needed something mounted underneath it. So I went over to my stash, and I was just going to get some espresso because that's one of the other colors. But the espresso was a little bit much, and I really liked the way it looked. See here with the wood as the background. Isn't that pretty? But let's face it, we all know that it's just such a giant waste to waste all that. So what I did, that's how card number 2 came to be, was I took my wood piece of paper. I'll move those over because those will be my card 2. Oh, and I am going to have to leave my table because I don't have my die. This is what happens. I made this card yesterday on a Facebook Live, but it wasn't at my house. I think it's this one. So this is a good trick to have, and you're going to want to get the new rectangle dies for this particular purpose. So I'm going to be able to mount this on here, and it's going to leave, it's the new stitched rectangles, it's going to leave just enough of a border that I'm going to still be able to keep this outside piece, which you will see on that card. The second card, if you come back and watch that video, will be my border, but I'm not going to waste all of that paper underneath by just simply layering it. So it doesn't have to be super straight. Oh, and I'm missing part of my big shot as well. That's what happens. I had camp, I have Facebook Lives, and nothing's where it needs to be on my desk. Good thing my office is not super huge. All a matter of perspective. Some of you have seen my office and my studio think it's big because you don't have one at all. But it does help to have the right tools when you go to cut. So when you cut your rectangles, make sure that they go through. That's not going to cut because I don't have it lined up. Make sure they're on an angle, because you don't want this speed bump and just one pass through. Because if you do more than one pass, your paper tends to jam in there and it gets stuck in the stitching, and 1C is perfect. So now I have not wasted my paper, and this is from the wood DSP 6x6 stack that's in the annual catalog. So now I have these 2 pieces. So now I'm going to be able, let me show you, when you come back to watch this one, I have this piece, and this will mount on here, and you will never know that underneath it is nothing. And now I've got this piece to work with. So I did that, and I was just going to kind of be done with my card, because like I said, I was working on something for a Facebook Live that I do for a demonstrator group that I'm in. If you are a demonstrator, you can go check that video out. It has posted to my website, and we have a group that we do. But it was laying here, and then we decided that instead of doing some of our more complicated cards on camera, we were going to do an easier one. And this was laying here, and the pine cone was, and I thought, well, that looks really pretty together. So this set doesn't come with any words. So I'm going to use the words out of Incredible Like You, which is in the Occasions catalog. It's a super, super beautiful set, but the words are really pretty. And the reason I chose these words is because they were also laying on the table from the card before. So it's got a pretty font. So just stamp those on there. This makes a nice guy card because the colors are subtle. Then we use the espresso, which this card that I'm making does not use any of the designer series paper. So you'll get it in the bundle because it comes free with the stamp set, and the stamp set is also free, but it doesn't use the paper. So if you've run out of the paper or you want to save your paper for another occasion, this doesn't use any of it. So you don't have to worry about using it up. So I've got that on there. And then I'm just going to take a combination of blends and a blender pen. So I have my ivory blender pen, which is one that we use more for like faces, but it's just going to give a little bit of dimension to it. I'm not going to color in all of the bits of my pine cone, but just some, just to give it a little bit of life so it's not laying flat on this wood. This stamp set is distinctive, which means it has a little, the beautiful different layers of ink that happen in our distinctive line. But you can still color it. Then I'm going to take a blender pen, and it's going to actually not blend the blends because they don't blend with a blender pen, but it is going to pick up a little bit of the ink because I stamped with classic ink, so the espresso ink. Just kind of blend that around. Again, it just gives a little bit of dimension. Because even though it's a distinctive stamp, once I stamped on this designer series paper, you kind of lost a little bit of that. And then this is our color lifter. And I'm just gonna, one more time, I didn't want to add too much color to it. So this is a nice subtle way of giving some color. And you don't want to do a whole lot of this because again, it will smear the espresso if you do too much. So then it's got a little bit of color. So it's a nice subtle design. And then also, because this was laying on my table, because I had just done my dog card, if you saw the dog Valentine, this was laying here. So sometimes I'm a lazy stamper. Sometimes you can just get your creativity because you're too lazy to get up. And it was late that night that I was stamping this. So sometimes, you know, it's just laying there, and there you go. This is how I use my background stamp for the buffalo check. I love the buffalo check. This piece of paper has been in here for a while, probably since Christmas, and it's my background. So I'm going to take my espresso. I don't mount it on any kind of block. I don't have the sticker on it. It was before the cling, so it's the old kind of sticker. So I'm just going to ink this up with espresso. A lot of this is going to get covered up, so if my center doesn't get inked real well, that's fine, because it's mainly the edges of this that are going to show. I don't even take it out of the case. Sometimes you do get ink around your case. You can just wash the case off as well. And I want this is, I'm going to do a flannel print with this, so it doesn't bother me if it's a little bit more on the grunge side. This is a guy grungy flannel outdoorsy kind of card. So there we go. Then I have a piece of vanilla cardstock, and it's cut long ways, so 4 1/4 by 11. So fold that in half. And then this is what my scrap paper is in here for, and you can see it's been used lots of times. Lay this on here as straight as you can, which it won't be perfect. Just lay it on there, and then take your scrap, which just to keep it in your case. It saves your hands from getting dirty. And again, really just the edges of this card are going to show, so as long as I press the edges, that's where I need it to be. And this just ensures that you'll get the best covering that you can. This is a fabulous stamp. If you don't have this stamp, I highly recommend it. And this time of year when you're looking for things where you think, oh, I have everything I need, what else could I get to get a $100 free bundle? It's a good time to check your levels of cardstock or your plates. If your big shot plates are a little funky, or stamps like this that sometimes you forget that you wanted, or your ink refills. Isn't that not beautiful? It's so pretty. I just love this stamp. And you can use it in all kinds of colors. I don't think my pink one's laying over. Oh yeah, it is. Here's the card that I did with the pink. So it's the same background, just in a different color. So it opens up your you don't need designer series paper in every color, because every color ink pad you have, if you have this stamp set, you can have a background. And I know it's popular because one of my most popular pins ever on Pinterest is the snowflakes with that, and then again with the hearts for a Valentine that I just recently did. So again, I'm going to take my blends, and this is just a piece of scrap, and I think it came out of maybe some the envelopes. So I'm just going to lay it down in the sections that have the white. And I'm going to use the fine tip end of my blend. My olive one tends to stick. And just draw a line. That one went a little crooked, but that's okay. Again, I'm not going for perfect, I'm going for a masculine card. So I'm just drawing a line in between all of the vanilla sections of the check to create my flannel design. I did this way back when, before it was popular. It may have been one of the first videos on YouTube where I did it. And I think I did it with the Sitting Pretty stamp to make a guy's football fall kind of card. So you can check that video out too, because I think on that one I may have used our Stampin' Right markers. And if you use the fine tip of those, it gives you a little bit finer of a tip, so the line is a little bit thinner. And then since then, I have done some where I use both the blend, because the tip on the blend is thicker, and a Stampin' Right, so you have a variation of lines. On this one, I just did these because, again, lazy, and it was late, and my blends lay on the table with me in their stand. And my Stampin' Rights, I'd have to get up, and it was late and we hadn't eaten, and I wasn't getting up to get the Stampin' Rights when these were laying right here. This is my pumpkin pie. So it feels a little bit like we've gone back to a fall card. You could switch the colors up if this is too fall for you. It reminds me of flannel shirts my grandfather would wear. So to me, it's not necessarily fall, as more it is of a masculine, warm, comfortable, cozy kind of card. So again, just drawing the lines. And most of this ends up getting covered up because not a whole lot of this shows on this card. If you had more showing, then I might add a third color and maybe like a maroon or something, or the cherry cobbler with the thin tip of the Stampin' Right. But because so much of this is going to get covered up, I'm just going to leave it like that. But isn't that not? It's gorgeous. You could also, if you want to, take the pine cone and overstamp that. So there I've got that. And then one last little touch. Some twine, because I think the twine on a masculine card is always a nice touch. And you know, I like lots of, if you're going to go to the effort to put ribbon or twine or something on your card, just do it. So use a lot. I always do a double over. And this twine is from the Needlepoint Suite in the Occasions catalog. And it's Old Olive. And just tie this around here. And this, starting on February 15th, I will be having a special. And if you order anything and you get this bundle for free, I will be sending you the supplies, the cardstock and the ribbon or the embellishments for 3 cards to make them. So all you have to do is enter the host code. If you go to my website, starting on February 16th, I will have the details. If you're on my email list, you'll get those on the 15th. It may be on my website on the 15th. Sometimes I don't like to promise because I get it in my email first and then I have to get it over to my website. And I'm in the process, I am almost done of getting my, almost mounted that upside down, of getting my new website ready to launch. I would love to have it so this post goes on it, but you know, you build your own website and it takes forever. And it's not so much that it takes forever. If I could just have a week where that's all I did, not even a week, it wouldn't take a week, but just finding the time where you don't have to do anything else. But I don't have that time. Unfortunately, people in my family like to eat, and you need to keep doing other things, and the laundry has to get done. And you know, real life goes on, and then the website, I make great progress, and then I come back and I'm like, where was I? So there you go. Super easy, super quick. Here's some other variations of it. The first one I did, this is the one I did on the live. This is the one that I did the first time, and I colored on the brown. I didn't like that as much. Really not a huge difference, but enough that I liked not coloring on the brown better. So that's the first card from the new Sale-a-bration products, and this is again the Painted Seasons bundle. And if you buy it, I will be sending you with your thank you gifts and the regular host code gifts that you get in February, but you'll get the supplies to make 3 projects, the cardstock and the designer series paper, so you won't have to use yours because some of this will be included for you, and ribbons and whatever embellishments are on those 3 projects, which I haven't made them up yet, so I'm not sure what will be on them. But that's what I have. Come back and see the finished project of this card because I guarantee you're going to like it. So have a great day. Bye.